of writing in England. Astle observed that the ancient Britons don't have the use of letters in a provable way prior to the Romans, yet, the letters they do have use of match the Phoenician alphabet prior to the increase of letters, which roughly dates to circa 750 to 500 BC. However, this may be forgery. Though the oldest Irish manuscripts are written in the Latin language using Irish letters, the ancient Irish alphabet nearly matches the Phoenician according to some of these pretended alphabets, as Astle called them. My investigation explores whether the ancient Britons are indeed descended from the Phoenician as language indicates, which their upper echelon of society, captains, priests, nobility, and the like, would have had use of letters were this true, and there is not one idea I am unwilling to entertain or examine should it have merit. However, the following is one of many reasons as to why I claim the diaspora of these people and systems are from Italy and not Britain. He wrote, IB page 96, after the most diligent inquiry, it doth not appear that the Britons had the use of letters before their intercourse with the Romans. Although alphabets have been produced, which are said to have been used by the ancient Britons, yet no one MS ever appeared that was written in them. I have several of these pretended alphabets in my collection, though they are only Roman letters deformed. Hunobelin, king of Britain, who lived in the reigns of the emperors Tiberius and Caligula, erected different mints in his island, and coined money in gold, silver, and copper, inscribed with Roman characters. From the coming of Julius Caesar, till the time the Romans left the island in the year 427, the Roman letters were as familiar to the eyes of the inhabitants, as their language to their ears, as the numberless inscriptions, coins, and other monuments of the Romans still remaining amongst us, sufficiently evince. However, we are of opinion that writing was very little practiced by the Britons, till after the coming of St. Augustine, about the year 596. The Saxons, who were invited hither by the Britons, and who arrived about the year 449, were unacquainted with letters. The characters which they afterwards used were adopted by them in the island, and though the writing in England from the 5th to the middle of the 11th century is called Saxon, the architecture in England, which preceded the Gothic, is usually called Saxon, but it is in fact Roman. It will presently appear that the letters used in this island were derived from the Roman, and were really Roman in their origin, and Italian in their structure at first, but were barbarized in their aspect by the British Romans and Roman Britons. See Whitaker's Manchester, Volume 2. Page 329, where he shews that the opinion of Mr. Wanley, that the Saxons brought letters with them to England, is ill-founded. He continued on the next page, the capital letters in the 14th plate are taken from the Textus Sancti Cuthberti, written in the 7th century, formerly preserved in the Cathedral of Durham, but now in the Cottonian Library, Nero. D. 4. In this fine MS we find several of the capital letters, which were used by the Greeks, the Etruscans, the Romans, the Visigoths, the Saxons, the French, and the Germans. The ph, the parent of the Roman f, was not disused at te team this MS was written. That's his claim. I suspect Roman comes from Etrusco-Phoenician because Rome was quasi-Etruscan according to Etruscologists like Michael Grant, and it makes no sense given the un-Greek nature of the Etruscans. The Roman f, and also the f used by the northern nations, appear in the alphabet which we have engraven, as doth the m of the Pelasgians, of the Etruscans, of the Oscans, and of the Romans. The different forms of the letter O, in this alphabet, were also common not only to the people last mentioned, but likewise to the Phoenicians, and to the Greeks. The Y is not unlike the Greek upsilon. This alphabet alone bears strong testimony that the letters used by our Saxon ancestors are derived from the Phoenician, the Greek, and the Etruscan letters, through the medium of those of the Roman. The capital letters in the 15th plate, no. I, which are taken from a MS written in the latter end of the 6th or the beginning of the 7th century, confirm this opinion. It is observable that the Pelasgian M was used in Mizas so late as the 8th century. It is my opinion that the real reason libraries were burnt or destroyed was because the awareness of the masses was reaching a degree where the texts could be examined or analyzed by uninitiated people who could then see the mistakes or details that betray the official narratives of their origin, so rather than barbarians destroying them, it was the monks who did so to preserve their authority and power, and they blamed it on conquerors. It would be similar to a corporation destroying its documents, so an internal investigation would have no evidence to implicate its corruption. I've come to this conclusion based on the legendary stories of how these manuscripts came into existence, i.e., surviving destruction by the Danes through falling in the sea, and then washing up on shore miraculously through the merits of St. Cuthbert, the sea ebbing much further than usual, returning the book above 3 miles from shore without degradation from the water, as claimed by Turgot. I think the burning of libraries is to destroy evidence of priestly crimes. Astle also made the connection of the dragon to the Egyptian triad, IB page 103, the dragon, in the ornamented letter, is the emblem of vigilance, and was used as such by the Phoenicians, the Greeks, and the Romans. The 3 most ancient symbols are the circle, the serpent, and the wings. The circle represented the eternity of the deity. The serpent, his wisdom. The wings, his providence over, and protection of all created beings. The dragon is the serpent dignified. But dragons are also depicted with wings and moving in circles, or cycles, which in my opinion would be the Egyptian triad personified. However, I'd be willing to concede that the Egyptian triad may be a symbol of the dragon should more evidence of forgery emerge regarding ancient Egypt. Become a member to access the rest of this article. If you've never been a member and want a comped month to see if my work is a good fit for you, follow these simple instructions.